Turning Point USA is now rolling out breeding criteria for women. Yes, Turning Point USA is now ranking women based off of their made up criteria, their eligibility for mating and breeding. We're not talking about designer dogs here. And you do not have to understand the cast and characters of Erica Kirk's Turning Point USA traveling circus of Jesus freaks like I do to know that rolling out breeding and mating selection criteria for women is not it. But here we are. Turning Point USA has rolled out criteria for mating selection. Clock it today, August 25th, 1922. Just kidding. It's 2026, unfortunately. Where in the Charlie Kirk We Carry the Flame lyrics does it say to start treating literal women like designer dogs at a backyard breeder? What the fuck? Like, what in the eugenics is this? What chapter of the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 playbook did they get this garbage from? Because I'm not kidding. A Turning Point USA spokesperson, yes, a spokesperson has rolled out criteria for mating selection and breeding of humans. And real quick, if you're new here, I'm Loren Piretra. I unfortunately cover Turning Point USA and the grift every single day here, network free and independent with Willa. And we do this out of pure principle and as a measure to keep you safe from Stephen Little Bitch Miller, who, if you ever hear a little hissing in the night, you see a little drip underneath your sink or in a dark, damp area of your bathroom, that's a really telltale sign that Stephen Miller has been there. And Stephen Miller is hungry. He's ravenous. He has a swollen pot belly like a little baby Dracula. And he will stop at nothing to invade your home and leave Stephen Miller eggs everywhere. And it's just like a nightmare to clean up and to get fumigation in and all of that. So I want to keep you safe. The best way you can stay safe from Stephen Miller is to subscribe. Leave us a comment, 6 words or more. Hype if you're watching this video on YouTube. And if you're watching or listening on wherever you get your podcast, leaving us a 5-star rating. All of these measures are going to create a protective barrier around your home, your loved ones, and Stephen Miller. It's like a little shock collar for him. So stay safe. So MAGA is also, before I show you the breeding criteria, let's just warm it up with a little bit of the MAGA meltdowns of the day, shall we? So Katie Miller, always one to be complaining about whatever it is she can find to complain about, is sharing this message, just always in an effort to distract us from the DNA results of her children. So let's see.
Oh, I'm gonna throw up. Oh, I'm gonna throw up. Oh, I'm sick. I'm like literally almost gonna cry. I just stepped. I'm wearing flip-flops in human shit. I'm moving. Oh, this was it.
This is some Erica Kirk School of Acting theatrics, by the way. This is captioned with "Welcome to Mondani's New York City." Okay, you know, I've had a ball with the Mondani memes and TikToks. I saw somebody like, "Mondani, my vape is dead," and then he comes to the rescue. But listen, crying because some person, probably some Parsons student in their golden doodle poo didn't get picked up. You know, this is why they always say that the MAGA Turning Point USA people, these are the types of people that are afraid of cities. So if you're afraid of a little, Yorkie poop being on the sidewalk, maybe don't have your dogs out. Maybe don't be walking around New York City in flip-flops. Gross. Okay. But, Andrew Colvett wanted to pile on Turning Point USA. They never miss an opportunity to grift their little hearts out. Take a look at this.
Another career might be.
Look, all applications are being...
Just a joke. So, 2 questions. The first one is this. A group of about 15 minority groups that represent bodega owners are filing suit to stop your city-run groceries. They say that your city-run groceries, and I quote, are a direct assault on minority businesses by a mayor who claims to be a champion of the disenfranchised, poor, and working-class New Yorkers. How do you feel about that? They feel that they're being disenfranchised, and what's your response to their suit and their attempt to stop your city-run grocery stores?
I continue to be fully confident in both the legality and the importance of our initiative to deliver 5 city-run grocery stores, 1 in each borough, to the people of our city. We are talking about a reflection of a cost of living crisis that has seen grocery prices increase by about 30% over the last few years. And we're also talking about delivering 5 city-run grocery stores in a city of 8.5 million people that has more than 1,000 grocery stores. And we've seen, in fact, with Essex Street Market in Manhattan, as well as Moore Street Market in Brooklyn, a model where the city has subsidized groceries and it has not had a negative effect on bodegas around them.
Okay, so basically, Mondani disproves this theory. Andrew Colvett, though, who literally champions the kidnapping and detainment and internment camps for immigrants, is whining about bodegas. Andrew Colvett, when's the last time you left Vegas? When's the last time you left your little red, deserty bubble? I'm going to guess it's been a minute. So don't come to me saying justice for bodegas. Please. These people are so, like, it's the reachiest reaches I've ever seen. And, you know, meanwhile, you guys, Gary, Indiana, a predominantly Black city with a long history of segregation, white flight, industrial decline, and disinvestment, they've been left without power for 11, 12 days. So what we're seeing right now is how climate change, there's a whole lot of injustice there with communities who receive urgent help when disaster strikes, which are usually the wealthier communities nearby with more white people. They've recovered quickly. Meanwhile, Gary, Indiana is still without power. Look at this photo. So I'm going to read this post from Feminist. For nearly 2 weeks, residents of Gary, Indiana have been living without reliable electricity after a powerful storm tore through the city on August 11th. And it brought winds of up to 99 miles per hour, knocking down trees, power lines, and initially leaving more than 300,000 community members without power across northwestern Indiana. Gary, which is a predominantly Black city, has been among the hardest hit communities. And as of August 22nd, more than 33,000 customers in the region were still without electricity, with full restoration not expected until August 25th. The consequences of nearly 2 weeks without power go far beyond inconvenience. Residents have lost food, struggled to charge phones and medical devices, and have been forced to depend on generators, community kitchens, and emergency supplies. Schools have been closed, businesses have lost income, and families are being asked to simply wait. Local residents have also questioned whether aging infrastructure and inadequate preparation contributed to the length of the crisis, while the utility responsible for the grid has denied neglecting low-income or minority communities.
At NIPSCO, everybody pays them. We don't pay, we get cut off. But when disaster happens, they want to charge us X amount of dollars, but we already paying into this. They got billions, trillions of dollars. We working day to day on paychecks. So yes, they could have did better. They got the money. We don't got the money. They say they supposed to maintenance that yearly. They haven't been out here in a year or two, maybe 3 years. I can't sleep at night because I can't plug my sleep apnea machine up. I can't afford a generator. I'm working on a month salary. So therefore, we need them to either give us generators or get this power up and running. We got a 91-year-old man that lived at the end, almost at the end of the thing. They had to rush him to the hospital. We had an elder lady across the street. She had medical condition. She bedridden. People come out to help her also. So we really need them to work more faster.
Horrible. And meanwhile, Katie Miller wants you to be outraged because some Upper West Side woman stepped on Yorkie poo. Grow up. And real quick, today's episode is brought to you by Laundry Sauce. As y'all know, Willa has been sick all summer long. And what that's meant for me is so much laundry. So I needed to make it a little bit more fun. So I started using Laundry Sauce. And honestly, I'm obsessed. The scent is incredible. Italian bergamot is my favorite, naturally. It's so fresh and so clean. I actually look forward to doing all the laundry now. And I've even got my neighbors asking, what is that? Here's the thing. Laundry Sauce is not your basic drugstore detergent. These are premium scented pods made by actual perfumers. The pods are super concentrated with enzymes that actually tackle everything. Mud, stains, coffee spills, all of it. And get this, Target just started carrying them. And for a limited time, you get 20% off your entire order when you use code Loren at laundrysauce.com. That's 20% off your order at laundrysauce.com with promo code Loren, Loren. And they've got a full money back guarantee. So if you don't get better smelling, cleaner laundry, you get a full refund. No questions asked. So head over to laundrysauce.com and use code Loren, that's Loren, for 20% off. After your purchase, they'll ask about where you heard about Laundry Sauce too. Please support our show and tell them we sent you here. It's time to make Laundry Day the best day of the week. But that is not the only thing causing complete outrage amongst the maggots this week, because there's also a Girl Scout cookie crisis. Everyone needs to drop everything. There's a Girl Scout cookie crisis. Take a look at this. I want to preface this with, not everyone in the United States of America is a Christian. Not everyone who's a Christian or a Catholic is an extremist that wants to force their shit on everyone else. I am neither, but I acknowledge how we live in a nation that's supposed to be founded on separation of church and state. Meanwhile, Andrew Colvett, the grifter of all grifters, is saying this: Girl Scouts of America offers Muslim badges to be earned by learning the pillars of Islam, visiting mosques. Who's going to tell him that other religions exist, and just because he doesn't like them doesn't mean you can just fucking throw a fit every single time? So let's look at some of these responses. Laura Loomer saying, I will not ever buy Girl Scout cookies again. Okay, good. Like, you're probably scaring them with your face, so maybe that's a good thing. Matt Van Swoel, a man who looks like he's also never left a rural area or been to a city before in his life, really, really draws the line at justice for Catholic Girl Scout cookie community members, saying, I will not buy a box of Girl Scout cookies ever again until this BS is removed. What are we doing here? These are second and third graders selling cookies, my dude. It's really gonna be okay. People are dying, Kim. And then let's see this one. Alex Cole, Girl Scouts, let's teach girls about different cultures and religions. MAGA, how dare you expose children to knowledge without our permission? It does come down to that. Okay, enough about Girl Scout cookies. Let's get back to the Breeders' Cup, shall we? Here's where Turning Point USA spokesperson Andrew Colvett's breeding criteria got rolled out to us. So he posts this video.
My new vetting process for if I want to date a man, first date question I'm always going to be asking him is, do you think that Lindsay Clancy should go to jail for what she did? And if that man says yes, I'm getting up and walking out right then and there. I cannot spend the rest of my life with someone who thinks that that woman is guilty and deserves jail.
He writes this: what this woman is actually doing is helping men dodge a major bullet. She's ensuring all good men, heavy on the air quotes from me, no, she's not an intolerable hag, but also unfit for breeding. Jen replies, marriage isn't mating and having children isn't breeding. Reducing the family design to animalistic language is dehumanizing, and I think it's vulgar in any context. I agree. It's also the same type of people that don't know how to interact around women, so they call them females instead of women or girls, respectively. Females, by the way, is a scientific designation used to denote an ability to reproduce in terms of like animals, plants. So Andrew, always one to really double down on the worst takes ever, doubles down on his mating selection criteria because he felt like this. He said, breeding felt appropriate given the context. Not to dehumanize women, children are a blessing, as is a godly wife. And then he goes on to say, how about a marriage is a covenant established by God between a man and a woman to, 1, form the basis of a healthy society, 2, allow his good design of service, sacrifice, and faithfulness and love to be lived out to one another, and 3, to procreate and mate, and to perpetuate the species and culture, not to quibble. Prayer hands. Andrew Colvett has a breeding problem. And honestly, doubling down on this birthing criteria is what makes this so revealing. Like, animal language here, not on accident. You do not evaluate a person for breeding unless you've already reduced them to an object, to what a body can produce. They see women as objects to be possessed. A woman is supposed to have her own standards and desires that reflect your needs if you're asking Andrew Colvett. You're waiting entirely to be chosen based off of your fucking breeding criteria. Breeding criteria removes all humanity from women. It literally reduces us to fucking cattle talk. Breeding criteria is what he's putting women in the position of. Something a man gets to inspect and either approve or discard. And listen, we don't have to get into the Lindsay Clancy case, but as far as I'm concerned, and you guys can disagree with me in the comments, this woman was failed. She did everything she could to get help. She was under postpartum psychosis and needed help desperately. She was aware enough to know, I need help, asked for help, advocated for help, and she worked in labor and delivery. And as far as I'm concerned, every one of those people around her failed her. They failed her. They should absorb the responsibility here equally. That husband, what the fuck were you doing, bro? How are you going to let somebody suffering like that just be on their own? So Andrew, showing what kind of husband he would be and doubling down on this breeding criteria. It is so sick. And the thing about women who subscribe and submit to this is what I don't understand about women who enthusiastically participate in Turning Point USA and amplifying and sharing this worldview. Either they have a financial incentive, a career incentive, both. In the case of like Riley Gaines and all these grifterellas, they have a direct financial incentive to keep this bit up. And with these women, they can agree with these men politically and still recognize that, hey, maybe defending these types of men who are rolling out goddamn fucking breeding criteria for human women, maybe I don't fundamentally agree with this. Maybe they don't actually see me as equal. And at best, these women, these wives, these girlfriends, these servants to them, at best, they're trying to compete to be the favored member of the group. And they still believe that men are the ones who get to have the right to judge, rank, and control you. They're all competing to be the master's favorite fucking dog. And we're going to just keep watching it time and time and time again. And as we sat down to record this one, we got some really interesting tea around Turning Point USA and the Secretary of War, Secretary of Defense, Pete Kagsbreth, and a collaboration going down between Turning Point USA and the US military. We've been calling this one out for quite some time now. We saw this coming, and we're going to dive into it next. So make sure you're subscribed. Follow us wherever your podcast. Again, I am Loren Piretra. Willa Piretra is somewhere in the foreground, and we're going to go play with the ball. Be back with more.